Hello and welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, to Minor League Cricket Live, this time on episode number 3. I'm Om Patel, as always, and we're here to bring you a recap of everything minor league cricket. And I know Nate Hayes has had quite a weekend up to this point, because I have too. We've been working to literally this very second to bring you this show.
It's a challenge. We like to say we're the South Park of cricket shows because they do all their work right up until the show basically premieres. We're even worse.
It gets to that point. I know Bubba was stressing behind the camera, making sure we got all the content in for him.
He's the one that's got it all together.
He's the one that's together. He's the glue that holds this whole show together. But we're here. We're back. We're live. We see you guys in the comments. Tony, we see you there. Thank you so much for joining us. Leave comments throughout the show. But Nate, you mentioned South Park. Let's get started right away with the South, because this weekend was a weekend that kind of shake things up down south because we didn't have a lot of the games we expected to have.
Yeah, it was unfortunate for a lot of the teams. We saw a matchup in the favor of Morrisville. It was washed out against Orlando, and they've historically done well there, especially at home.
Right.
And they didn't get the chance to do that. They only could get a point from that, but you can't take it for granted.
Yeah, let's take a look at those standings that we see over there from the South. You mentioned those points that were missed out on. It's still Baltimore that sits up top with their 9 points because of their no result. And then we talk about the Morrisville Raptors. They are also right up there at the top with those 9 points. The Atlanta Fire, they move into third place with 4 points to their name because of their net run rate. Atlanta Lightning, they're sitting at 4th because of their net run rate. Orlando without a win, but with points because of that rain, the missed opportunities because of rain. And Fort Lauderdale didn't have a game this weekend, still without points to their name. Nate, this division is shaping up to be Baltimore and then whoever else.
Well, it is, unless the Raptors have their say this weekend.
There you go. Well, before we get to next weekend, let's talk about this weekend and what happened in those matches, because we want to start off with that Saturday game, because we finally got things to kick off down south with the Atlanta Derby. The Atlanta Fire won the toss, elected to bat first, and the return of Rishi Pandey and Steven Taylor didn't result in runs because Sani Samadri got in the action early. Sohaib Tai also took 2 wickets after giving up just 3 runs in his 4 overs as well. But Paul Palmer, to me, was the man to watch because he stood tall, getting boundaries all around, accumulating 37 off 28 in difficult batting conditions. Samhadri, though, got him clean bowled, and from there the innings came to a screeching halt with the Fire finishing with 105 thanks to this direct hit runout. In the second innings, we had a familiar sight with Steven Taylor taking an absolute screamer. Nate, look at this once again. He's in USA colors. Look at that. It's like we're in Dallas all over again. On the very next delivery, Emil Aponso gets Unmukjan to chop on, but Aryan Chenchu got things going because he hit 3 sixes against Cornet Dry. Not the easiest man to do it in, but Steven Taylor would take the young man's wicket for 27 runs. And with the rain coming in, it was Prashad Murthy that kept the run scoring, but the Fire stayed hot thanks to another great take from Steven Taylor. And then it was the consistent fall of wickets for the Lightning that just let things slip away to 71 for 7. But Chaitanya Chavak walked in, found boundaries all around the park, and in the 19th over, he was able to finish things off 25 off 18 and win the match with that single for the Atlanta Lightning. That wraps up Saturday. Only one game, but Nate, an absolute doozy in the Atlanta Derby.
Yeah, tremendous. Anytime that you see Steven Taylor taking catches like that, I'm happy.
Yeah, it was great to see it again. You see the handshakes on the screen. But when I look at that Saturday game, this was a game that showed you the fight of both teams. And I just was really impressed with the Lightning. Again, Unmukjan comes back, doesn't score big. Mark Parchment unable to score, but still finding that depth to find runs.
Yeah, and that Paul Palmer innings. It's
really
just
good.
Some beautiful scoring from him. Excellent, finding new areas, being creative, taking what was there. You have to do that sometimes on those stickier wickets.
Yeah, 100% you have to do that. But we finally got games that we were scheduled. Sunday was a full day of action in the South. Let's take a look at what happened on Sunday, because Church Street experienced a massive amount of rain. Saw 2 days off, but cricket came on Sunday. The Galaxy opened their season batting first against the Morrisville Raptors. They got lives early, but Christopher Barnwell made his presence known. That in-swinger, brilliant. And then in his first match of the season, Rohan Fudke picked up 3 wickets to take the Galaxy down to 31 for 4. After getting to life early, Akeem Dotson found boundaries like this one over cover, alongside his partner Hardik Desai, who was able to find runs, this time over the wicket keeper, to push the score 89 for 4 before Raj Anand got his say. Look at this, picks up his first wicket in Hardik Desai, but then Antonico Scott came in and pushed the scoreboard to 24 off 12 as the Galaxy finished with 122. With the bat, it was skipper Trevon Griffith who found runs with ease. He found 3 boundaries in 1 over to finish 24 off 11, but Dimitri Adams provided the much-needed breakthroughs to get both of the openers, Griffith along with John Campbell, you see on your screen right there. In his first innings with the bat, Rohan Fudke provided much-needed stability, timely boundaries, and sensible shot selection to finish with 31 runs. The left-arm spin duo of Manav Patel and Siddhant Shah combined for 3 wickets and took the game deep, but in the end, it was 2 sixes from Raj Anand that ended the game in the favor of the Morrisville Raptors. Ooh. That was the way they walked it off in style, Nate. You and me were there. That was terrific. But let's move down to Atlanta, because down in Atlanta, the Fire once again batted first, but this time it was Steven Taylor that got runs early with massive sixes down the ground and runs all over. Captain Sunny Patel, however, was able to take wickets at the other end. This time it was Rishi Pandey that was caught at third man, and then Sohab Tai got Rajdeep Darbar. Taylor got himself 34 before he edged one through to Unmukt Chand, and the spinners continued to make inroads with Junaid Siddiqui getting Benjamin Kalitz and Paul Palmer. Aksh Dave and Zia Shahzad put together a strong partnership, scoring 32 off 24 respectively as the Fire finished with 137, thanks to shots like this to push them over that line. With the ball in hand, however, it was another similar story. An amazing catch. Take a look at this off the return from Saifuddin to deliver the first wicket. But Arun Chenchu and Prasad Murthy continued their 6th inning with blow after blow. And again, they just kept finding that boundary rope. Skipper Emilio Ponzo finally got Prasad Murthy with this brilliant catch on the boundary rope for 34. And 2 overs later, it was Zia Shahzad that got Chenchu caught out in the deep. Mark Parchment and Udmuk Chand continued to trade boundaries, but Zia Shahzad did what Zia Shahzad did best, thanks to this terrific take from Cornedra. Look how low the big quick gets to take this one. Whoa. Unbelievable. And then Udin would pick up another wicket in the final over before this unfolded. This wicket as well. He got Unmukt Chand, takes this one, and then Emilio Ponzo made his mark known. Gets the ball in from the deep. Sunny Patel wants 2, says don't even turn around. You're going to get run out right there. And then Udin, with 5 needed off the final ball, delivers that. A perfectly executed Yorker. And the Fire, with 4 wickets in the final over, they have a 4-run victory. Nate, this Sunday action in Atlanta was terrific. Atlanta had the games of the week. We called it right with the game to watch in the Atlanta Derby.
Yeah, I think you're right. And that run out was hilarious. I mean, that was a really cool run out. How many times do you see a guy ready to go for 2? He's got 2 on his mind the whole time. He gets out before he even gets 1.
Yeah, it was ridiculous that from Emilio Ponzo. And the thing I'm learning down in Atlanta, those teams are so similar, right? I think that's the biggest takeaway for me is that I don't know where to give that edge. I think a lot of people on paper would have said before the season, oh, you give it to the Fire without Unmukt Chand, but now that this feels like it could go any way in Atlanta.
It really can, I think, and I don't, it's going to be interesting to see if an Atlanta team can even make the playoffs. We've got potential rain this weekend. If either Baltimore or Washington get points this weekend, I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how this shapes out. We've had an Atlanta team in every single playoffs has been the Atlanta Fire. We'll see if it continues to be that, or if the Atlanta Fire will finally miss out. But we talked about the South. Let's move into the East. We talked about not having a lot of games in the South, not a lot of games in the East, but the table, it's shaken up a little bit. Take a look at what that table looks like now. It's the New Jersey Stallions who are sitting up top because they finally caught up in the number of matches. 5 matches, they've got 10 points, they've won all their games. Somerset Cavaliers sitting at 2, the Philadelphians sitting at 3, and then from there, this division kind of slides down, Nate.
Yeah, it really does, and it's a shame every season that only 2 of these 3 teams here can make the playoffs. Philadelphians have a tough weekend ahead of them, but yes, these New Jersey teams, the New Jersey Stallions and the Cavaliers, always right in the thick of things. 2 very good teams, and in the first couple seasons of the league, the Cavaliers had great talent, they just couldn't get it done, and now they're showing their talent every chance that they can get. And obviously, the Stallions' bowling attack is just second to none.
Yeah, I mean, that Stallions' bowling attack is terrific, and their batting attack, it faced some losses. No Sai Mukamala, Jesse Singh goes because of the USA stuff. But they still had to play 2 games this weekend. Nate, tell us what happened in those games.
Well, let's start off with the Friday game in the East. New Jersey Stallions versus New England Eagles. And in the 5th over here, Irfan Nassim has massive swing on this, and he cleans up Dominic Ricky. That's a massive wicket. There you go. And in 15th over, we have a drop on a big chance to get Mustafa, and that would really haunt them. Then you have Nassim. We have Arjun Bajala. He went big. He was a youngster that really stood out for them.
Yeah, he was terrific, put runs on the board, took the score to 141, and allowed Stephen Wigg to do what he does best, take wickets. I got to do a little bit of remote cons with this, Nate, and I got to say, Sachimala Varapu was so good in this game as well.
He's always good. He took 3 wickets in the game. He was a big bowler for them. And there you go, Rohan Mustafa completing the trick. He did an excellent job with the bat. He did an excellent job with the ball. Everyone loves a good high five. In the second game, the 2 teams would rematch, and here we go. This is the Dominic Ricky special. Look at that. Dominique had himself a massive day, scoring 64 from 38. He's the first New Jersey Stallions player this season to score a half century. They don't usually get a ton of big scores from their batting. They count on their bowling quite a bit, but Dominique had just an incredible day. We've seen him in the USA before. In the chase, the New Jersey Stallions bowlers were just too overpowering. Look at that right there. Great catch. Speaking of Dominic Ricky, and New England couldn't catch up. They lost by 43 runs. On Saturday, let's move along, and we've got New Jersey Cavaliers versus the Titans. Saeed Abdullah cranked a bunch of shots after 2 early wickets. Gajanan Singh did his typical dirty work with the bat, getting things done. And here we go.
I thought this was just a quality of depth from the Jersey Somerset Cavaliers.
Terrific shot.
Yeah, terrific shot there, but you talk about with Gajanan Singh scoring, you also had Ado Bhatti getting 48 off 30 and propelling this Cavaliers team to 195.
And Loban took 3 wickets. And here we go. Alex Algu. Man, he has been such a fun batter to watch this season. Look at the power that he has. He has unbelievable power. He scored 47 from 32. Finally, he was taken out by Karamula here by a terrific catch in the deep. And the Titans fall big to the Cavaliers, which is kind of what we expected on the weekend. But now it's a 3-man chase. It's a 3-team chase for those 2 positions. It's the Cavaliers, it's the Stallions, it's the Philadelphians. The Philadelphians have a tough weekend ahead because they're going to have to play the New England Eagles and then also play against the Stallions. And if they need to really kind of win both of these games. Yeah. If they do win both of these games, it's wide open in the East.
Yeah.
It's going to come down likely to net run rate at that point. If they win, if they don't, then it's looking a lot like the 2 New Jersey teams are going to advance.
Yeah, I think what I came away with from the East when I got to watch the Stallions live, what I saw from them was a team that didn't have all its firepower. It was a tough wicket to bat, it was swinging around a lot. And they were at a point where they were 36 for 4 at one stage, Nate, and then were able to get to 140. And it showed you the depth in their batting, and you've seen it all season long. Their bowling is always going to be terrific, but to see that much depth, I think, is something that's so cool, especially with the losses that they've had. And with the Somerset Cavaliers, I also think seeing a guy like Ado Bhatti come in and score runs in a massive heap just shows you their depth as well. So you mentioned those 2 New Jersey teams. They're going to have that say because there's just so much power around.
Yeah, and I'd like to focus a little bit on those New Jersey Stallions team. Through 5 games, Dominic Ricky, as I said, the only one with a half century, 64 runs. 11 guys have a high score over 20, though. So everybody can bat a little bit on this team.
It's so good.
And then they have 12 bowlers who have taken wickets across the games, the 5 games so far. 12 bowlers across 5 games have already taken wickets. Only 2 bowlers out of those 12 have an economy of 8 or higher, and none of them have an economy over 9. 8 of their 12 bowlers have appeared have an economy under 6.6. This is a really good bowling attack.
So what I'm hearing is Nate says they're the favorite to win the competition.
I think they just have the best bowling, and oftentimes that's what it comes down to.
I try to trap him. He's so good at this.
These wickets have improved at Mercer, but I still wouldn't call them batting wickets.
Right.
And when you have bowlers that are that good, and you have batters that can all of them give you 20 runs, you've got quite a combination.
And I think those batters only can get better on the better surfaces that they'll end up playing on. So I'm excited to see that. I see here Raj's viewfinder Love you, Raj.
Yeah.
He said Rohan Mustafa is a great addition. I agree. From the
Great.
UAE, I mean, he's taken we've seen it internationally. To see it now here in minor league, how cool is that?
You know, we had to mention him in those highlights, you know, because we have to keep it short. But Rohan Mustafa deserved a mention because of the quality that he brings.
And everyone loves a little bit of Nate Hayes, Crick exec, our man Z over there. He says everyone loves a good high five. Nate Hayes. He loves that quote. That quote coined into 2024. And you know what? Who's wrong? Everyone does love a good high five. There you go.
That was a high pressure high five.
There you go. It was a high pressure high five. But we'll move on now to the Central. And this Central division finally got to heat up because we finally saw the rest of these teams play. Chicago got involved in the act, and that really changed the way this was going to play out, Nate.
Yeah, I think, you know, we've been waiting for some of the Pacific teams to join in. This is one of those things where you got to wait for the scheduling to open up for some of these venues. And it's great to see all the teams joining in now and playing a lot of games.
Yeah, so looking at that table, the Xforia Giants, they're at top with those 7 points, with the 3 wins that they do have, and that 1 tie, of course. And then you have the Chicago Kingsmen, who were able to sneak into that 2nd place after their weekend. St. Louis Americans are sitting there in the 3rd position, and Houston Hurricanes right outside that pecking order, Lone Star with 4 points. This division is so loaded and so close. It's almost unfair to have all these teams in one division because this division is so jam-packed.
It's tough when you see 7 teams that are this good.
Yeah.
It's really tough. The Central's been the last couple of seasons a very, very good division. We're seeing a lot of parity around the league now, though. We're seeing a lot of very good teams all throughout the entire league. The Central's kind of always had it.
Right. You know, they have, and again, the Chicago teams opening things up was always going to be something to watch for, and we got to see that open up straight away. Let's look at these highlights from the weekend because it was a battle of Chicago to open it up. Both teams were looking for win number 1, and the Kingsmen, well, they won the toss and chose to bowl. It was Mitesh Nityayatham who got the game off hot with boundaries all over the place, but, don't forget about that man, Zia-ul-Haq, who's able to find wickets of Jay Desai. Shiv Shani, Justin Dill, and Calvin Savage all got to double digits, with Justin Dill being the high scorer of 28 off 32. But from there, it was all Kingsmen, thanks to Abhimanyu Poswal's 4 wickets for 7 runs in 4 overs. The Tigers finished with 103, but Calvin Savage picked up wicket number 1. Justin Dill picked up wicket number 2, and things are moving smoothly, but it was just a brilliant partnership from Ramiz Raja and Saad Ali that kept the Tigers out of it. Raja got himself to 52, and Ali got himself to 37, and the Kingsmen cruised to a 6-wicket win. So that was Friday's matchup there, Nate. And again, it was just kind of domination from the Kingsmen. Maybe something you expected. You had those early signs from the Tigers, but the Kingsmen just never let this team get a sniff.
Yeah, the Kingsmen are just such a good team. It's really tough. It's tough when you have, you know, that good of a talented team.
Yeah, I mean, they're extremely talented. They're able to capitalize on the Mustangs not being involved, and they picked up some guys.
Sure.
You know, they already brought in Azam.
I mean, look at this division without the Mustangs.
Yeah.
Imagine if the Mustangs were a part of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's an unbelievable division this is. And again, that Chicago team is just so good. But on Saturday, we got to see even more of these teams in action. Let's take a look. We started off with the Chicago Tigers taking on the Michigan Cricket Stars, and the Chicago Tigers got off to a hot start thanks to runs from the top order and a high score from Justin Dill of 32, and to propel the team to a score of 128 before they were bowled out. However, the Tigers were tough with the ball, with Deepchand Pinaka's 3 wickets, and alongside 2-wicket hauls from Calvin Savage, Vineet Saha, and Yash Patel as the Tigers cruised to a 12-wicket win. Moving into the Kingsmen versus St. Louis Americans, the Americans got off to a strong start thanks to Muhammad Ilyas's first ball wicket of Ramiz Raja. Anshul Bisht and Saad Ali started to build a partnership with solid stroke play all around the ground, but that chop-on changed the game. And then it was a partnership between Saad Ali and Tajinder Singh that brought it back in the Kingsmen favor. Ali put together 69 off 37, while Tajinder Singh scored 80 off 54 with 10 fours to push the score to 200. The Kingsmen got off to a hot start thanks to brilliant deliveries from Zia-ul-Haq to dismiss Noman Anwar. Then Ehsan Adel got Zahid Zakil, and the first time was so nice, ul-Haq had to do it twice, removing that middle stump, and Wadat was able to put up 32 runs, but wickets just kept falling. After these brilliant shots, it was just more Kingsman after Kingsman after Kingsman, thanks to Asif Mahmood's back-to-back wickets, including this brilliant Yorker. Ujjwal Vinakorta scored a quick-fire 56 from 29, as St. Louis fell short by 32 runs. Grand Prairie, we'll see in just a second here because St. Louis, again, fell short, but it was all about Grand Prairie after that. They opened things up with the matchup between the Lone Star Athletics and the Dallas Exforia Giants. Shaikh Norbasha picked up Aryan Katana with the third delivery, and then another wicket there thanks to Norbasha getting Awezia. And then don't forget about Nitish Kumar by Batura. And don't forget about Harsh Kakani getting in on the action. It was just wickets galore. And then the runs started to flow a little bit thanks to Mohammad Usman 44 off 46 to finish the innings with 112. In the second innings, after a maiden, it was all about the Exforia Giants because Bishnoi and Arjun Mahesh found the gaps to the rope to scrape together 17 and 18 respectively. Again, that's a brilliant shot from Chaitanya Bishnoi, but Awezia got in on the act thanks to that wicket of Bishnoi, and from there it was Gaurav Bajaj who blistered away 40 off 31, and then Akashat Gomo who picked up 26 off 25 to clinch the victory by 7 wickets. Nate, that last game in particular for me was really, really special because that was a game the Exforia Giants didn't get off to the hottest of starts and still held their composure, held their nerve, used their depth. Didn't get to Harmeet Singh because he's not there. They had to really regroup that way and still found a way to win.
Yeah, and that's what good teams do, and they're playing in the familiar confines of Grand Prairie Stadium, where they've played an awful lot of the games. It's always fun to watch a game under the lights on MLC Network at either at Grand Prairie or here at Morrisville at Church Street Park.
Gotta love under the lights at Church Street Park.
Absolutely, but yeah, I think that team, they're quite loaded up.
Yeah, I mean, again, they did that without the likes of Harmeet Singh. So that's a big loss, and they had to play this whole weekend without him. So it's a big leveler, this USA series. Of like, you lose these guys, and how do you go out there and place them? Andres House is also technically part of that Exforia Giants team as well.
Wow.
So when he gets off of duty, if it's in time, and they're in the playoffs, that just adds another element to that team.
Yeah, they're loaded.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite terrific. That got to give you another high five. Moving on to Sunday now, where the Michigan Cricket Stars took on the Chicago Kingsmen, and the Michigan Cricket Stars got the bats going early with an early partnership between Ritik Vahera with that back foot punch and Abhinav Sakaram, who chipped in with a little pull shot of his own. But just as that partnership started to get along, this bit of miscommunication caused the run out of Sakaram. It's really silly. Halfway down, yes, no, ball watching, and don't even worry about taking the bails off if you're Ahsan Adil. Behera was dismissed 3 balls later, and from there, the Kingsmen took charge. Even with Waqas Salim finding 21 runs, it was wickets that fell around him, with 3 from Asad Mahmood, as Michigan finished with just 100 runs. Ramiz Raja and Anshul Bish gave the Kingsmen a great start. Raja would be disappointed after that great shot. He was dismissed off this real full toss, but a terrific 43 off 44 from Bish carried the Kingsmen to an 8-wicket win. And after that match, let's go straight to the final over for the Chicago Tigers, where they needed 11 from 6, and the first ball went for 4 by, so it meant 7 from 5. Mohammad Ilyas came in and was able to take the wicket right here of Deepchand Tanaka, and to make it 7 from 4, everything's in play. Then, perfectly executed Yorker made it 7 from 3. Trent Patel tried to get innovative, but could only find the keeper. 7 from 2, still a big hit away, but yet another perfectly executed Yorker. 6 from the last delivery, deep in his crease. Can't get it up past the wicket. What an over for Mohammad Ilyas as the Americans win. The Exforia Giants got the chance to bat first here against the Lone Star Athletics, but Imran Khan Jr. gets through Arjun Mahesh there with that beautiful in-swinger, but that is where the success stopped because Rahman Dar put together a brilliant 64 off 50 with glorious boundaries alongside Nashud Shaikh's fast-paced 77 off 46 with 7 fours and 3 sixes as Dallas finished with 185. Awezia and Aryan Kanta found the runs with massive sixes straight back down the ground, but wickets fell thanks to Saurabh Patwal, who broke through, and then it was Nitish Kumar, very next delivery, and then Patwal picked up wicket number 3 of Kanata. Then it was all about Chaitanya Bishnoi, who picked up 3 wickets of late, and Patwal took a 4th wicket as the Exforia Giants won by 73 runs. We talked about Harmeet Singh missing. Chaitanya Bishnoi said, okay, I can bowl some left arm spin, take 3 wickets,
Well,
no big deal.
They've got a lot of them, don't they?
So, Nate, when you look at this team, when you look at this, this division, that's kind of opened things up. Obviously, Chicago Kingsmen sitting at 2nd place. The Exforia Giants look darn good. What do you make of it? What are you looking for? What has kind of opened up to you now that we're nearing the halfway stage of the season?
What I'm most interested in seeing is St. Louis Americans.
Sure.
Because they haven't really been near the playoff picture too much in the past. They haven't made the playoffs before. I'm curious to see if they can make something happen here. After they had a great first weekend. So I'm very interested in that, but obviously this Kingsman team is just loaded. This Exforia Giants team absolutely loaded. I think it's not a top heavy division by any means. Every one of these teams is fantastic, but I couldn't have bet against either of those two teams making the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I just think the Central Division, you lose the Dallas Mustangs, you're like, well, what happens with this division? You see guys going out west with Rashil Garkar, but most of the talent has stayed within this division. So it just almost made the division better because now instead of having one team with 6 or 7 major leaguers, you've got these major leaguers just kind of spread across. And I look at a team like St. Louis, I think that's the surprise maybe of the season. I don't think many people expected St. Louis to be this good, but Noman Anwar up top, Zaid Sakil, and then Mohamed Ilyas. It's just a terrific combo.
Yeah, that's the surprise to me for the Central. Of course, Houston's always been a very talented team. It's Lone Star's kind of up and down. The Tigers had that great season 2 years ago.
Right.
Michigan's always been knocking on the door. Unfortunately, they're 0-4. But I think that this St. Louis Americans team is very interesting to watch. They have players on their team who are getting chances and getting defined roles that they hadn't necessarily had before.
Sure.
Like Zaid Zakil. And I think that's it's fun to watch.
Yeah, fun to watch indeed. Again, exciting matches we've seen in the Central. But Nate, we talked about how we were spending every last second up to this show to get it right. And it's because of the West.
The
Guys,
West.
If you don't know, we split this up. I do the South and the Central. Nate does the East and the West. It's worked out for him in the first 2 weeks where the West maybe had 1 to 3 games.
Yeah, that was easy.
This week, however, Nate, how many games did the West have?
The West had 12 stinking games, man. They didn't give me any break. They had games on every day. 3 on Friday, 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, 3 on Monday. And we were calling games to ourselves.
Yeah, we were.
So it was a difficult task to stay on top of it all. It was impossible. And I would like to thank Joe Hickey, who I had a nice 45-minute phone call. Hopefully he's watching now. Had a nice 45-minute phone call with Joe last night because I couldn't see the forest through the trees yesterday. But yeah, it's been a challenge. But we're going to do our best to wrap it up for you as quickly as we can.
Yeah, I just want to jump into this chat real quick. I have a great conversation about a lot of these players. But Damon Robinson goes, the West had 12 games. Yes, Damon. The West had 12 games. And Nate Hayes was tasked with wrapping that all up. So, Nate, without any further ado, we've talked it up quite a bit. Wrap up the West for us.
12 games, 12 minutes of sleep for me. And we're going to start off with Friday. We're going to kick off with the lashings.
Hold on. Let's
look at the table. My fault. I'm jumping the gun.
So tell us about what happened over here, Nate. What's going on in this Western Division?
Well, it looks like this is a very interesting thing. We've only once had, in 3 previous seasons, we've only once had a team outside of the Bay Area even make the playoffs. It's been Bay Area exclusive, except for the year Seattle won. They won the whole thing. That's the only time they've made the playoffs. And right now they're in a position to win, and it's mostly because they've shored up their top order batting. Their top order is really good. If you'll remember the year that they won the championship, they had Andres Jose, and he was excellent at the top. But they needed to answer a question up there, and they moved Harmeet Singh up there late in the season, and it worked out in spades for them. This season they've done great having Reuben Clinton up there and Ian Chauhan, and I think that they're looking really good at the top of the order. The net run rate there is fantastic. And the big surprise to me is how well their fast bowlers have done in the absence of Shadley Van Schalkwijk.
Yeah.
So this Seattle team is very compelling. Another interesting story here is the San Diego Surf Riders, who are 3-1 right now, but they have that negative net run rate. The big question for me with them is, do they have the bowling depth? Do they have the fast bowlers? They seem to not have enough. They have three bowlers every game that work out for them, and then they go expensive. And in that case, they're going to have to bat deep. We haven't seen if they can do that yet.
Yeah, I think about the Silicon Valley Strikers that you'll see there. You talk about fast bowling. And they said it out here in the comment section, actually. It was Al Wilder. He said, SVS really missing Nether Volker. That's a big miss for them, too, right?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Back with the USA team. So this was a big weekend for them. Yes, they lost so many bats as well. Think about Lahino Malanta, who they lost in the offseason. But Now you have to replace Saab Netravalkar. You don't have a Dev Tadanu who
You can't replace Saurabh Netravalkar.
You got to find a way to do something with his 4 overs, right? You got to find a way to spread that around.
Well, when we look at the loss column here, the SVS already has 4 losses.
Right.
So they're sitting in 3rd place only based on points accumulated for the whole season. The most they can get is 8.
Yep.
And I think
it's not going to cut it.
It's going to come down to East Bay, Seattle, or San Diego. It's looking like right now. The Lashings have been on the rough end of things without a win. But you look at their net run rate, they've barely lost the games that they've lost. 3 of the games that they've lost, they could have easily won. Yeah. I think they're a very good team. They're going to give everyone a run for their money, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them upsetting somebody before the season's done.
Well, you speak about those upsets. Tell me about what happened this weekend. I'm sure we had a couple upsets of our own.
Yep. Well, I'm not going to false start this time. I'm going to wait for the graphic.
There you go.
There we go. The Lashings and the Strikers would kick it off 12 games in the West on Friday. LA would start off big, 50 for 1 after 6 overs, thanks to Harkaran Gujral and Harpreet Singh just whacking it everywhere.
I mean,
look at that.
One-handed.
He had 4 straight 6s off of Shivam Mishra. You saw the slow motion on the one-handed one. Mishra finally gets revenge there. Boom. Harpreet skies the 6th delivery of the over for a catch. He ends his inning 79 for 41. Silicon Valley claw back into the innings. They bowl Cameron Hotak, bowls Elmore Hutchinson, The Lashings finish 179 for 7. Thanks to that Abhimanyu Singh 6. Now heading into the chase, Cameron Hotak and Anthony Bramble start things off big. Hotak goes down the ground for 4 off Ain Desai. The highlight of the power play is Bramble's 4th over, where he scores 3 4s, including this one here off the hip, and then he scores a 6 right here. You're going to see this one. He scores a bomb. This is off a Niraj Goal, too, who's a very good fast bowler. He just hammers that. But now Jain enters in the 8th. He first ball, he goes wider, and he gets Bramble caught for an easy catch. Bramble ends 39 for 22. The run rate never slows down with Shehan and Jayasuriya enters the game, but Abhimanyu wrapped bowls Shehan. Boom, beautiful ball. Before things got any worse, Shiva Mishra isn't phased, and he takes on the bowlers and he sends the next 2 deliveries for 6 runs. Boom. But Desai gets Mishra right there. Boom.
How good is I on Desai, man? I just can't say it enough.
Mishra had a cameo of 12 from 6. And Gary Graham has had a rough start to the season. He's caught behind right there. Elmore Hutchinson in. And
what a catch that is.
What an amazing catch. Excellent job there. Pranay Suri and Gorawara ramp up the run rate. Suri wallops a 6 here in the 7th. They put the game away to win by 5 wickets is what they do. With 2 balls to spare, and Pranay Suri finishes with 40 from 22. San Diego opens their account against the Golden State Grizzlies on Friday. Grizzlies navigate the power play safely. They end with 36 without loss. You see the hustle there. They move slowly into the 9th over until Zadran gets Rahul Jarawala. Jarawala scored 19 from 29. Adada helps the Grizzlies accelerate. Here, he blasts a 6 off of Abhimanyu Singh in the 13th, but he's out on the very next ball. This one here to Guyan Fernando, who finally gets a wicket in I believe his final over of the innings. 3 balls later, he takes a wicket, intercepting Nataraj's damage right there. Grizzlies score 21 runs in the 19th over, thanks to Kranthi Kumar, who had a great weekend. Jaideep Reddy in the 20th finally gets Kumar, but the damage might be done. Kumar finishes 56 from 34. In the chase, it's a rough start for the Surf Riders. Tandali gets Nikhil Dutta for a duck, and then in the 3rd over, Tandali strikes again, getting the other Canadian, Ravindu Gunnesakara. Umar Akbal catches the run rate up a little bit here with his 4, but Deshpande persists, and Nataraj makes another great catch. This guy's all over the place, man. He's making all kinds of great catches. Big wicket there. Akmal ends 44 from 26. The 11th over goes for 15 thanks to some big hitting from Skanda Rohit Sharma, one of my favorite names to say. He's just shown a lot of talent. He's showing everybody what he's got right there. Sharma keeps going. He's scoring to all areas of the ground. You'll like this one. Just tucking it. And Sharma and Abhyender Singh close the game out, and Singh brings up the winning runs with 2 and 12 balls in hand. They win by 7 wickets. Enormous win by San Diego. Huge win. Great stuff.
Great stuff. There's Friday. That's Friday. That was just one day of play. But I look at the games there, and I just kind of want to break it down day by day. Starting with Silicon, I think Cameron Hotak, how good is he for this team? You lose Lahidu Malanta. How do you replace that production? And he comes in, lefty up front, and is doing the job.
Yeah, 100%. I need to mention the East Bay versus Seattle Thunderbolts game. We didn't get any footage of that. East Bay posted 162 for 9 in the first innings, thanks to Sujith Gowda's 94 runs. Sujith and Abhyender Singh starts off big for Seattle with 4 wickets and 29 runs.
Yeah, Sujith Gowda, how good is he? He's just been on a tear this season, so it's good to see what he can do and what he's able to bring to this team. I think about the Golden State Grizzlies, and you talk about earlier in this year how they were the young experiment. To see, this team start to find their rhythm is good as well. I think they didn't win, obviously, against San Diego Surfriders.
Right.
San Diego Surfriders did their thing. But I just think that it's a good opportunity to get I like to see Rahul Jadwala back opening the batting.
I agree with
that
you.
For me is such a big win.
Yeah.
I like to see Dave Dadani getting 4 overs.
Yeah, still getting his chances with a new team. I do like this young team. I think they're going to grow. I hope they keep them together for a while.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be discouraged by the position that they are in the table.
Yeah, you mentioned youth, Skandar Rohit Sharma, like you said, 60 off 45. To see Ravindu Gunasekara back in the league,
Love it.
playing.
We love Ravindu, man. He's a great
he's
guy.
played here in Morrison before. He's been in the Central with Lone Star.
Happy he's back in. Yeah.
Now out there with San Diego. So that's Friday. You've wrapped that up. And now, no rest there. Back into Saturday.
Right into Saturday. We got 3 games on Saturday. Each of these teams played a slew of games. Kicking off Saturday is the Lashings versus the Grizzlies. In the 3rd over, Tandali starts Golden State off right. He takes out Gujral cheaply for 2 off of 6 balls. In the 6th over, Dev Tadani secures a good power play. Look at that great catch. Once again, our guy. Catch by Nataraj. In the 10th, Harpreet Singh starts off hot, but Sohan Bhatt has him caught early in Sohan's innings. Harpreet, 24 from 15. Suraj Kumar and Cody Chetty partner for 54 runs. You saw that reverse sweep right there. Great stuff from this duo. Chetty continues to score to manage the innings, and he loves to move his feet until Dev Tadani gets his 2nd wicket to limit the Lashings to 144 for 7. If you want to chase the Lashings, you have to get past Ian Desai, and he's on a roll this season. He's incredible. Look at that, bowling a dada for a duck. Rubal Reyna would join in the action for Los Angeles. He finished the day with 3 wickets for 19 runs in 2.5 overs, including that catch by Desai. Awesome stuff. It was Kranthi Kumar's day, though, and Golden State, look at the Kranthi Kumar. Watch him go. Boom. This guy had a heck of a weekend. He had an incredible weekend. Reyna introduces some doubt in a minute here. We're going to keep watching these Kranthi Kumars.
I mean, he had a phenomenal time with the bat in hand. He might be making an appearance on that top 10. You never know.
You never know. And Reyna. Oh, here we go. Sohan Bhatt. Another boundary. Just getting in, just joining in on the fun. And there you go. Golden State Grizzlies win by 4 wickets. Clinical. Good stuff. Saturday. Next up, Seattle Thunderbolts versus Silicon Valley Strikers. Amanzai strikes early. He nearly can't find the ball there, but Chauhan is out for a duck. Ruben Clinton takes over. Check out this cut shot for a 4 there. Now, this is crazy to me. Ruben Clinton struggled a lot last season versus right arm finger spin. And this season, he is striking at nearly 200 against finger spin so far. The season is young, but he hasn't had a bad innings yet. He's been absolutely fantastic. You see his creativity comes across the crease. Look at this right there. Boom.
Dang.
Look at that. Absolutely terrific. He's flying right now at 59 from 47. And Kandori finally gets him out, caught behind. They are at 131 for 4 in the 17th. That's a great start. That's a great 3/4 of the way there. Shivam Sharma makes the most of his brief trip, scoring 23 from 10. And Seattle end with 166 for 5. Once again, first ball, boom. Another wicket first ball. Shivam Sharma gets the lefty Hotak. Atif strikes, boom. Once again, big one, taking out Shahan Jayasuriya. That's got to feel good. Mansingh had himself a huge weekend. He takes his third wicket here, or he takes some wickets here. We have a little bit of technical problems, I think. So we're just going to cut that one out. But anyhow, Gorwara did. Everybody did.
Everyone played really well there for Seattle. Just kept things moving. And for the Silicon Valley Strikers, they were edging there. I think they just lost wickets in bunches.
The problem was the fast bowling. The fast bowling from Seattle came in. We saw Cincy Seegers at the end. There was only 19 needed off of the final 12 balls.
Yeah.
And in the 20th over, he takes 2 wickets to close the door on the Strikers in Seattle, put them away.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate for the Silicon Valley Strikers not to be able to convert there. That's what you want to see. That's the loss of experience in the middle, right? You've talked about the entire time in their first couple of seasons. It's been all about their middle order, Nasing Dinarayan and company, just like secure that. It gives you so much experience. Now you're dealing with guys who, maybe not. Now it's a lot of pressure on Suri and Gary Graham to really stick in and bat to the end. And
right.
Now, Naman Patel has a different role. Nitin Kanduri has a different role. Faisal has a different role. Ishwarjat Sohi, his bowling prowess, he has got a different role. So there's stuff to do. But hey, also talk to us about what else happened on that day. East Bay took on San Diego Surf Riders.
Well, we have the East Bay Blazers. We had a little technical difficulty with our clip there. It's kind of crapped out on us, unfortunately.
Okay, it happens. We know how to adjust. South Park.
Yeah, South Park. So East Bay Blazers put up 146, but they got bowled out with two balls left, which came back to haunt them. Nikhil Dutta scored 23 from 19. Skanda Rohit Sharma from the Surf Riders scored 51 in the chase, and they chase it down with 2 balls to spare. Great bowling from Pankaj Rao, taking 3 wickets for the East Bay Blazers. In the first innings, Aditya Ganesh scored 48 from 44. Yeah. We saw wickets taken by everybody. Abhinder Singh stood out with 3 wickets for 28 runs in his 2.4 overs.
Yeah, you mentioned Pankaj Kumar Rao. He actually played for the Atlanta Lightning last season. He was good in moments. He would struggle with kind of his extras, but when he hit the line and lengths, it was impossible to really get him away. Real slingy action off the wrist and gets to kind of nip. So he's someone that's really exciting to watch, to see him pick up 3 wickets. No surprise. And the Surf Riders, again, East Bay was the team that was the Dallas Mustangs of this season, if you will. A lot of people, like Joe Hickey, expected them to kind of walk into the playoffs, walk into the finals.
Absolutely.
And now you're seeing those cracks start to unfold. You're seeing teams like San Diego push them and beat them. And now this is a whole new conversation.
Yeah, and Sanjay Krishnamurthy wasn't in the team this weekend. I think that really hurts them.
Right.
They put their leadership in him. He's a youngster. Obviously, he's an all-rounder, so you're missing both things with him. You're missing a good fielder, too. He's a fantastic fielder. But yeah, if you look at the Surf Riders after these 2 games, they got to feel really good. They just beat 2 Bay Area teams in their first 2 games of the season, beating the Golden State Grizzlies, who are not what they used to be, admittedly, but they historically have owned them. So then you go, or they historically have beaten them more than they've lost to them. So then you beat the East Bay Blazers, everyone's favorite. That's got to be a great feeling with the first 2 games of the season.
Absolutely. Well, Nate, you've taken us through Friday. You've taken us through Saturday. Take us through Sunday.
Well, this is Sunday coming up. We're going to look at this. Now, Sunday we didn't have as many close games as we had in the other days of the weekend. But first of all, let's start off with the Golden State Grizzlies and the San Diego Surf Riders. We saw Rahul Jariwala for Golden State started off with 51 from 44. Tarun Adada scored 43 from 21. They had a great first wicket partnership there. And then it kind of petered out a little bit, but they got a great boost from Sahil Garg, not out 30 from 14. And the bowling side of things, AJ Sharma took 2 wickets for 22 runs in his quota. For San Diego in the chase, we got the top order clicked pretty well. Umar Akmal, he scored 47 from 37, and Chad Britsky scored 34 from 35. But Viraj Patel took 3 wickets, and Sukhwant Sekhan took 3 as well. And San Diego Surf Riders ended up losing by 38 runs.
Yeah, it was an interesting game. We mentioned Rahul Jariwala earlier. This is why I like to see him batting up top, because you know what he can bring you with things like this. For San Diego, I think it's just got to be a little bit disheartening. You just came off a really great game. And I think the thing for me is the top 5 got off to starts. You had a decent platform with Ravindu, Nico Dada, Skandar Rohit Sharma wasn't able to get going, but then you had Chad Britske come in and score runs, and then from there it just kind of fell apart. And so for them, that's the difference between good teams and really great teams, is being able to be very consistent in finishing an innings.
Yeah, they haven't really gotten much from the outside of the middle order.
Yeah, well, there was a couple more games on Sunday. Take us through it.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at East Bay Blazers versus Thunderbolts. This one was a shocker, kind of. East Bay continued to struggle. They lost all their wickets but they went to the 20th over, but they only scored 99 runs and just completely fell apart. Nobody scored more than 21 for East Bay. 4 wickets from Atif, and Shivam Sharma took 2. Cincy Secrets took 2. Great bowling from Seattle, who finished it off easily thanks to their top order, which I mentioned before. Ruben Clinton and Ian Chauhan just made short work of it.
Yeah, I mean, it was quick work. And we talk about East Bay, again, being the team that everyone thought is way up here. It's a different type of story now, because now you're seeing those cracks. Like you mentioned, this is not a team many would have thought would have gotten bowled out for under 100 runs. And then Seattle to just make work of it. 13 overs, 14 overs, you finish things off. You can't take a wicket. You just let them get through their work. Yes, you don't have Sanjay Krishnamurthy, but you still have Rushil Agarkar and company. Like, this is still a team that should be able to, A, score,
right,
B, take wickets, and they did neither on that day.
Yeah, and Karmai, not to mention Karmai.
Yeah, Karmai, LaRue, Sujit Gowda. There's plenty of talent on this team.
Right, absolutely. And Paradkar, you've got a very good team there.
Yeah, no need to hit the panic button. Just a couple of games, but question marks unfolding. One more game on Sunday. Nate, take us through.
One more game on Sunday. It's the Los Angeles Lashings versus the Silicon Valley Strikers, and this is another one of those that Los Angeles could have absolutely won. We'll just summarize this one for you real quick. In the first innings, the Lashings, Cody Chetty scored 55 from 30. Great innings from him, obviously. But we had a lot of 4 of the bowlers took wickets for the Strikers, including a highlight of 2 wickets from Cameron Hotak, who's been phenomenal this season for 22 runs. In the chase, the Strikers, Anthony Bramble and Shivam Mishra, didn't do a ton of damage, but they did enough to start off. Edgar Aurora joined in. Pranay Suri went 23 from 12. He's gone big every time he's gone, and he's gone quick anytime. Faisal Ahmadzai scored 40 from 26, and the Strikers chased it down with 3 balls to spare.
Yeah, nice and easy there. Kind of got close towards the end, but again, Silicon, again, the difference of a middle order being able to finish it through the end. Yes, you can take it deep. They got starts, and they just had a big bad execute in the middle.
And if you look at this bowling attack from the Silicon Valley Strikers, you've got Ian Desai, you've got Elmore Hutchinson, you've got Neeraj Goel as your fast bowlers. How are they not winning games? It's crazy.
It's crazy. And out Wilder there. Yes, it is the Umar Akmon that you are thinking of.
It's the same one. Yeah, it's the same one.
All right, Nate. Well, we've gone through Friday, we've gone through Saturday, we've gone through Sunday, and just to add a little bit of torture to you, they put on games Monday. One more day, Nate. You got it. Take us through it.
We can do it. Monday. Let's take a look here. We've got Los Angeles Lashings versus East Bay Blazers. Ian Desai is on a tear. And let's see. Let's take a look. Suraj Kumar. Oh, look at this run out here from Vikash Mohan. What a wonderful runner. Hutchinson just can't turn around. He's too long. Ian Desai gets out right there. Carmine LaRue gets hammered here by Hajadzai. And LA start out pretty well.
Yeah, only to get 121 though, and then with the bat in hand, East Bay, that's just brilliant timing on display there. I mean, it was just this kind of caliber of bat all the way through the innings, and it carried them through. 125, they finish it with 5 wickets in hand.
Yeah, great stuff from them. And let's move on. Silicon Valley Strikers versus San Diego. And we're going to go straight to the last over. There's 11 needed to win. The first one's a 6. Second one is caught. Venapalli, this is his first over in the game. And he's coming in on the 20th to try to shut the door. So 6 wicket, 1 run, brings Suri up. They needed Suri up. He's been huge in this game, 85 runs from 48 up to this point. Now 1 wicket wins it. and 3-4 runs wins it. And Surrey chases that, and he's got to want that back, and he skies it, and Silicon Valley just can't finish it, and that's such a shame.
Yeah, I mean, that is just an unfortunate way to go. Again, like you said, he's just chasing after it. Probably could have let the game come to him. But what a moment for that young man bowling in Vulnerability. I mean, that's a terrific story. First over the game, come in, take wickets when you need it. You give up a 6-2, and to have the ability to respond, that's what minor league cricket's all about.
2 wickets. That's a TCL moment right there. You haven't bowled all game, you're coming in, and that's Bobber's team would do that.
Yeah. Well, he's calling him out. Nate, though, there's one more game in the West. Take us through
one more game. Seattle topped Golden State Grizzlies by 29 runs. Seattle went huge. Ruben Clinton just finished the weekend. He was great all weekend. He just saved his best for last, scoring 92 from 60.
I tell you what, that camp with MI New York just did something for him. He was batting well last season. He wasn't batting like this last season.
No, this is crazy. He's obviously got different. He's got various gears. He can play to the moment. He's a good opener. And Chahal scored 33 from 22. And then in the chase, Golden State just couldn't get it going. Rahul Drawiwala, however, was phenomenal. He scored 90 from 56. You would think with that 90 from 56 from your first guy, from your number one guy, yep, you're chasing this down. But it was pretty much all Drawiwala. He was kind of hung out to dry by the rest of his team. Cincy Seegers, once again, fantastic fast bowler.
Yeah, I mean, again, for Golden State, just want to see that core start to develop and mature a little bit. For Seattle, you come in, you get wins, and you're doing your business right now, and it's a hinging on Ruben Clinton right now. Like you mentioned, their fast bowling's been terrific, and you get your top order players to bat well, you get your fast bowlers to bat well, and then you can add Shally Van Skalkvik to this, give you some bat, give you some ball. That team looks deadly.
Yeah, the Seattle looks very good. Like I said, they answered some of the questions. They've got great fast bowling. They got great opening batting. Let's see how they do when they have to bat deeper. Let's see what happens.
Let's see. Speaking of let's see, we saw so many great performances that this week's top 10 was probably the hardest top 10 we had to denote. And we tried our very best. We're going to miss stuff. Send us things, please. Send us things. Shout them out. But here's the top 10 we were able to accumulate. We'll start off with number 10 because Stephen Taylor did what he did in Dallas. First slip masterclass. One hand. That's all Stephen Taylor needs when he's standing at slip. Moving on to number 9, Zeel Huck. Back to back. Uproots the stumps. So nice. He had to do it twice. Take a second look. Bang. Gone and away. Moving on to number 8, we move down south. Rohan Fudke gets into the game for the first time, takes 3 wickets for just 21 runs, and then scores 31 runs of his own, including that slog sweep for 6. Let's move on to the bats now. Number 7, Naushad Sheikh, 77 off 46 rapid, including that shot off the back foot. On to number 6, it's Harpreet Singh, who wound up at 79 off 41 and was just hitting it all over the ground. Let's up that by 1. Tajinder Singh at number 5. 80 off of 54 and brilliant against the St. Louis Americans. Let's up that even more. Pranay Suri says, no, I'm going to score 85 off of 48 for the Silicon Valley Strikers. And Rahul Drawiwala said, yeah, I can score 90 off 56 and 51 off 44, taking myself 141 runs on the weekend. Ruben said, I'll do you one better. 92 off 60 and then 59 off 48, including one of our favorite shots of the weekend, Nate, this switch hit right there. But here's my favorite passage of play. The Atlanta Fire in the final over, they defend the total and they take 4 wickets. One of them Mukchand right here. The second one, it goes straight down the throat of Long On. That's Sonia Patel, the captain, that has to walk away. And then my favorite of the 4, Emil Alfonso. We've seen it once, but we gotta see it again. That's the theme of today's show. Take a look at this. From the deep, you wanna run 2? No, go back. You can't make it in time anyway. And then right here, perfect Yorker, perfect execution. That's a top 10. That's your number 1 play of the weekend. What a time in minor league we had. 12 games out west, all those games in the east, all the games on south and the central. That's the 10 we came up with. What do you think about our list, Nate? Of the 3 we've done, what do you think it ranks?
That was my favorite one.
That was his favorite
look
one.
how many we had all those 12 games in the West. We got a lot of scoring, a lot of big scores.
Yeah, again, we're gonna miss things. Please send us things. We're gonna miss things. We're 2 of us going through everything, and it's a mad dash to get everything work. Speaking of going through everything, let's talk about the players that stood out to us. We'll start out with the emerging player of the week, as we always do. A couple of guys we mentioned, Rohan Fudke, but Nate, this went to your man. Who did it go to?
Skandar Rohit Sharma, man. The 61 and the 50 earlier in the weekend. It's great. You want to see a youngster like him who's got a spot on a team now that's pretty solid. You want to see him take advantage of it and just grab the bull by the horns, and he sure did that. And we saw him very close to the USA U19 team in 2021, and this is why.
Yeah, he's terrific. Good to see him back amongst the runs. Let's move on now to the Atlantic Player of the Week. A lot of names that got thrown around here. Roland Futke was another name we talked about. There's plenty of bowlers that got in the act. Danilo Ponzo would have been in there. Stephen Taylor with a couple of catches. But there was one guy out east, maybe a little bit of commentator bias, but I thought he stood above the rest. I'm going to give it to Rohan Mustafa. 43 off 44, 2 for 20 in one match. Picked up 2 more wickets. So 4 wickets on the weekend. Really great. Only 3 games out there. He had 2 of them. Had the luxury of that. I really like the way I saw from him. We saw from the UAE for so long. Now seeing him in minor league, nothing better than that.
Absolutely, and he can do so much. He gives his team so much, and he certainly did that this weekend. We didn't see a whole lot from the East or the South this weekend, so he's the guy for me.
There you go. That's your Atlantic. Moving on to the Pacific, we could have had 10 Pacific Players of the Week. There's plenty of bowlers, plenty of bats, but I think we've talked him up enough, Nate. Who's it going to be?
This had to be a batter this weekend with all the big scores we saw. Ruben Clinton, we got the player of the week for us from the Pacific Conference. And that's because he's opened up with 43, then 59, then 47, then 92. You're not going to find better than that.
4 innings where he just found runs galore. I mean, he was terrific. Those are our Player of the Weeks. Did we get it wrong? Did we get it right? Let us know down below. You guys seem to like our number 1 for the top 10. I'm glad to hear that. Speaking of what's happening this week, let's jump to next week. What's happening? Let's move into the South Division. We're going to start there. Our game to watch in the South, of course, is going to be the Marshall Raptors taking on the Baltimore Royals. There's a couple of reasons. This game's happening twice, both times under the lights, and it's 1v2, and each team, if they're able to get 1 or 2 wins here, they basically can seal their spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, and plus we can't wait to do this game. But you're right. This has all the playoff.
I was trying to get away to the bias, Nate.
This is where this is the key to the South. This series right here. Yep. If one team beats the other team twice, it opens it up for somebody. But if they go 1-1,
yeah, it's game open. So we'll see what happens there. Let's move on to the East now for what we think is our game of the week. What we have out in the East, it's going to be the Philadelphians and the New Jersey Stallions. That 1v3 matchup. Anytime you get the top 3 playing each other, those games matter, and they matter a lot.
That's a huge one. That's the batting from the Philadelphians versus the bowling of the Stallions. Both of them do both things well, but those are the strengths of the 2 sides.
All right, well, we talked about the South. How about the Central? Where are we going there? Let's take a look at what we said the Central matchup is. It's the Kingsman and the St. Louis American. The Kingsmen stationed at 2, still working through their things, but the Americans are this team that's an upstart, that's a surprise, and I don't know. I have a feeling that they could shock the world this way. Everyone's going to pick Chicago to win it. I think St. Louis is right on the knocking door here.
If the St. Louis top order can stick around a long time, then it's anybody's game.
Yeah, anybody's game. Their bowling is great, and I think that's another X factor. There's not a lot of bowlers that have answers. Mohamed Ilyas has had answers all season long. I think he could have a season there. Noman Anwar, though, a little tricky with the leggies that he produces. All right, enough about the Central. Let's move on to the West. Not the 12 games that Nate Hayes wanted, but here's a game that we thought could be really interesting. Nate, you love this matchup. Seattle Thunderbolts, San Diego Surf
Only
Riders.
6 games from the West, thank God. And we've got the Thunderbolts versus the Surf Riders. I've been talking up both of these teams, so this is why.
All right, well, we can't wait to see that. We're almost out of time here, guys. Quickly, I want to go to Nate. Nate, what have you enjoyed this weekend? Any final thoughts? What do you want to say to the people one last time?
I just want to say, I hope you guys are enjoying the season as much as I am. I think this is the best season. It's shorter, sure, but I think the parity is better than it's ever been before. Anybody can pretty much beat anybody in this league. I think the divisions, it doesn't seem to be like there's one step sticking up above the others.
Right.
They're all good. I love the direction minor league is going, and I hope everybody else does too.
Yeah, it's great to see that. It's great to see you guys in the chat commenting along. I know there's everything in there. USA team, we can't wait to see Andres House back.
Go USA.
Go USA.
Yeah.
They got that 10-wicket win. But guys, we appreciate you so very much for joining in to our live show here. We're going to be here every week. We love doing it. Yeah, we're going to complain a little bit, but we love doing this. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. And for Nate Hayes, for Babar Beg, and for myself, Aman Patel, we thank you and have a good night. We'll see you next week.